So Animesh, you've installed Knoppix. Could you tell us what's new about the distro? What's good about it?
This is the first time I've installed the DVD version, right? The DVD based distro. It has a huge collection of applications pre-installed, and
Is it easy to install?
yes, this is the easiest that I have installed in the recent past.
So whom would you recommend it to?
Pretty much everybody, starting from K-12 children right up to perhaps people who are doing their masters, maybe PhDs, I don't know, who may not need a lot of these applications.
And it comes on a
This is
DVD?
wide collection of applications. Like, have a look at this edutainment applications. These are, I'm sure, aimed at K-12. Okay, K-12 stands for kindergarten to 12th,
Yeah.
right?
So what kind of applications are they?
You have language applications, mathematics, miscellaneous, science, right? Then there's a huge collection of games. This is a bit of an overkill, but some of these games are really educative, very good, like Minesweeper.
So you think it's youngster friendly in that sense?
Yes. Another collection over here is graphics. Pay attention over here. There are some really good ones like QCAD.
Yeah.
So people who want, say, something, some sort of a CAD package,
Yeah.
could try out QCAD. In fact, today itself I received an email from somebody asking me if there was a CAD package available, or even if AutoCAD runs on Linux. And I had to give them an answer. There are lots of CAD packages already, like
Yeah.
QCAD. QCAD is a very well-known application.
You would recommend this for a beginner?
Yes, I would.
Okay. And
Beginner, as in a lot of engineering students would like to try this out. They
Yeah.
need CAD packages, especially.
no, I mean you would recommend a distro for a beginner?
Yes, I would.
Knoppix.
I will give this distro to anybody who wants to do a brain dead install.
And how do you get access to the software?
You could get it from a magazine.
Linux for You in India.
Right. This is
Okay.
LFY
Okay.
DVD. Or you could download that from the Knoppix site.
Yeah.
And there are thousands of mirror sites from where you can download.
Or you
that.
could buy it at a low cost.
You can buy that, and so on and so forth. And you can also ask some of your friends to hand this out. And since this is free software, free as in freedom,
Yeah.
floss, all right, people should have absolutely no problem sharing the software with you.
Yeah. How does it compare with other user-friendly software like say Ubuntu or whatever?
I was using Ubuntu till a few days back, and I have one complaint against Ubuntu.
Yeah.
If I try to upgrade something, it generally tends to break. Just a couple of days back, I tried to upgrade, of all things, believe me, Firefox. And what happens was the silly thing just broke my entire Ubuntu setup. And I had to then undo all the damage, and that in order to cut down on the time, the simplest thing would have been to reinstall Ubuntu, and I didn't want to do that.
But maybe to play devil's advocate, Ubuntu has a large community, so getting help is easier from that community. Do you agree?
Look, there are lots of pros and cons, there are lots of arguments for and against. But ultimately what really counts is the fact that if you can do something without depending on somebody else for help, why not?
Yeah.
Right? That counts for a lot.
So to someone who doesn't know, all this talk about distros in Linux, in GNU Linux, how would you explain what a distro is?
I wouldn't. I would just tell them, pick the first distro you get your hands on and just install it and start using that. In fact, I have in the past, and I will continue doing so in the future, recommend that any beginner just start with Debian. And
Debian is quite tough, but
no, it's not. That's really a negative image that has been built up for the simple reason that people get used to using something like Windows, and then they want to carry on the same mentality with Linux. That's really not a good idea. Okay, on Windows you get into the habit of, if a dialog box pops up and you just click on OK without bothering to read what's there on the dialog box. Whereas with Debian, the assumption is you know what you're doing, you know what you want, and therefore when it throws a question on the screen, you're expected to read that, understand that, and answer that. So the way I see it, if you can read a question in English, understand that question, and answer that question in English, you're fully qualified to install and use Debian.
So in a word, we can expect you to demo Knoppix at least shortly.
Yes. One of the biggest attractions over here is okay, it does a lot of the configuration automatically, but the background is entirely Debian.
I see.
So essentially, right now, what we have on screen over here is SID. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's good.
Thanks for introducing.
Most welcome.
Animesh, if you don't mind me reopening the conversation, Knoppix can be booted from the CD itself.
Yes, it's a live CD.
What does that mean?
Essentially, Knoppix is the software which allows you to have a live CD, which means your software will boot from a CD.
Yeah.
And it'll run off the CD.
Can be installed later if you want.
It can be installed on your hard disk if you want later on. Okay. Just be aware that if you attempt to do things like dual boot system or a customized partitioning scheme on your hard disk, then this may not be a good idea for beginners with Knoppix. Okay. However, if you have a rather simplified requirement, then naturally Knoppix is an excellent tool. Like right now, I'm going to give you a demo of a package called Adrian. Okay.
No, but before we go to Aryan, just one last question on Knoppix. As far as its hardware support goes, what are its limitations?
Limitations
of the hardware support, Knoppix.
Hardware support, a lot of the proprietary hardware drivers are not built in.
Yeah.
Okay. Essentially, that is a Debian issue, not a Knoppix issue.
Yeah, because Debian doesn't like the non-free stuff.
Correct. So, if I want a fancy driver, say from NVIDIA, which is proprietary by nature, okay, then I have a problem updating my hardware. So
how do you get around this problem, or you should not try it, or?
Nothing of the sort. Either you do that manually, which means you have to know exactly what you're doing, which is okay for a high school kid or a college kid who has the desire to learn to do something new and enjoys getting into the insides of the software and the hardware and enjoys configuring stuff. Alright, but that is not okay for a professional who just wants to get his work done, or for a young child who just wants to learn ABCD. Okay, this is where you have to have something which runs straight out of the box. And
so in that case, you have other options.
Either that, or you have the option of forget it. If XYZ hardware doesn't work and you can live without it, then why not? Like in my case, my white screen has not been detected or has not been configured properly because of the lack of proprietary drivers. Okay, and NVIDIA doesn't supply those drivers free. They're proprietary in binary format. So I have a problem configuring my white screen, and by the way, this is not unique to me. NVIDIA chipsets are the most common laptop chipsets across the world today. Okay, so that's a very important point to note. Another thing is my wireless system does not get automatically configured. Again, we have a driver issue, and again the equipment needs to be configured manually, and I can live without that because I have a wired network at home.
So on the principle of freedom, you think it's still worth doing without these non-free products? It's a trade-off.
It's a trade-off, and primarily what I feel is people have to seriously ask themselves one very important question which is usually ignored, and that is can they do without XYZ capability? Okay, this can-do attitude is really required,
so that we can improve and get alternatives to it.
Absolutely. Okay, and when you do not consider that possibility of can-do, and if if you start chasing mirages, then you have a problem, which is what happens largely in this world, because people don't stop to think about what they need and what they want.